Sorry. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vajradhanandana Yashodanandana Vajradhanandana Yamuna Tira Vanaka Yamuna Tira Vanaka Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 37, and the verse is 21 to 24. Atate kala rupasya shapayishnoramusya vai aksalhini nam nidhanham Draksham Yarjuna Sarate. Ata, then. Te, by you. Kalarupasya, who are assuming the form of time. Shapayishno, who is intending to effect the destruction. Amusya, of the burden of this world. Vai, indeed. Akshalhininam, of entire armies. Nidhanam, the destruction. Drakshami, I will see. Arjuna Sadate, by the chariot driver of Arjuna. Translation. Subsequently, I will see you appear. So this is who speaking? Yes, Jai Vasudev. This is Narada Muni speaking to Krishna. Subsequently, I will see you appear as time personified, serving as Arjuna's chariot driver and destroying entire armies of soldiers to rid the earth of her burden. Verse 22. Vishuddha Vijnana Ganam Sasamstaya Samapta Sarvartam Amoga Vanchitam Svatejasa Nitya Nivritta Maya Guna Pravaham Bhagavantam Nimahi. Translation. Let us approach you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for shelter. You are full of perfectly pure spiritual awareness and are always situated in your original identity. Since your will is never thwarted, you have already achieved all possible desirable things, and by the power of your spiritual energy, you remain eternally aloof from the flow of the qualities of illusion. Text 23. Tvam Ishvaram Svashrayamatma Mayaya Vinirmita Shesha Vishesha Kalpanam Kvidartam Aryatam Hanusya Vigraham Natos Miduryam Yadu Vishni Sattvatam. I bow down to you, the Supreme Controller, who are dependent only on yourself. By your potency, you have constructed the unlimited particular arrangements of this universe. Now you have appeared as the greatest hero among the Yadus, Rishis, and the Sattvatas, and have chosen to participate in human warfare. Sorry. Shri Suguvacha Evam Yadupatim Krishnam Bhagavata Pravado Muni Pranipatya Vyanujnato Yayauta Darshanotsava. Sukadev Goswami said, having thus addressed Lord Krishna, the chief of the Yadu dynasty, Narada bowed down and offered him obeisances. Then that great sage and most eminent devotee took his leave from the Lord and went away, feeling great joy at having directly seen him. You can join me in praying. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jananjana Chalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Vidadishva Purandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ura Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jayapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Haribre Pancha Kalpatarivishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shunivadi Vashtatara Shratadine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I sincerely ask for the blessings of all the devotees, especially the senior devotees, Adi Purush Prabhu and Vasudev Prabhu, that I may speak according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra for my own purification and for the enlightenment of everyone from not me, but from the Bhagavatam. So we're going to talk about these verses for some time. And then, because today is the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we're also going to speak some about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which I actually feel like really unqualified to speak. I really want to read the entire book about him and like really like dive deeply into his life. So I'm not an expert, but I will speak a little something and then encourage you all to read more. So there's some nice articles online. Yes, and also to celebrate the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur today, we will have at Bhakti Center at noon some bhajan and pushpanjali and arti and prasad if anyone wants to come, organized by Vasudev Prabhu. So where we are in the Bhagavatam now is after speaking with Kamsa, right? Narada Muni had just spoken to Kamsa to move things along in Krishna's pastimes. Narada went to see Krishna, and he understood that the Lord's Vrindavan pastimes were nearly completed, and Narada wanted to see those he would enact in Mathura. So Narada Muni approaches Krishna, and then he starts his prayers to Krishna and glorification of Krishna by saying that he is the Lord of the universe, the shelter of everyone, and the supreme soul of all created beings. He's situated in their hearts, witnessing their activities. And he tells Krishna that he is the supreme controller who can fulfill his desires simply by his will. And by the Lord's creative potency, he manifested the three modes of material nature, which create, maintain, and destroy the universe. And now he has descended to the earth to kill the demons who are posing as kings. And Narada Muni then specifically glorifies the Lord for killing the Keshi demon, which, as we know, just happened. He just killed the Keshi demon. And he said that the Lord enjoyed that pastime like a sport, like he enjoyed killing the Keshi demon, like it was like play. And Narada Muni, he knows the Lord's future pastimes before he performs them, actually, which is quite interesting point, because he then starts to list all of the Lord's future pastimes that hasn't happened yet. He said that in just 2 days, he will see the Lord kill the wrestlers Chanara and Mustika, he will see the Lord kill the elephant Kulayapita, and he will see the Lord kill Kamsa. And then he lists many glorious pastimes that the Lord will perform in Dwarka, like one after the next, like you'll do this, and you'll do this, and you'll do this, and you'll do this. And then in today's verses, Narada tells the Lord that he will see him appear as time personified, serving as Arjuna's chariot driver and destroying entire armies to rid the earth of her burden. And Narada Muni then tells the Lord that his will is never thwarted. So of course he can achieve all desired things in the future. And he has already achieved all desirable things in the past. And because of the Lord's spiritual energy, he always remains aloof from the material qualities of illusion. And he is always situated in his spiritual identity. So the intelligent thing to do is approach the Lord for shelter. And Narada Muni does that. Narada Muni bows down to the Lord and says, the Lord is dependent only on himself. The Lord's potency has constructed the unlimited arrangements in the universe, and now he has appeared as the greatest hero and chosen to participate in human warfare. Then Narada Muni bowed down to the Lord and took his leave, feeling great joy upon seeing the Lord. And so Narada Muni, through these prayers, he wanted to impress upon people in general that Krishna is fully independent. Prabhupada writes this in the Krishna book. Prabhupada writes that his activities, such as his appearance in the family of Yadu or his friendship with Arjuna, do not necessarily oblige him to act to enjoy their results. They are all pastimes, and for him they are all play. But for us, they are actual, tangible facts. And then we'll see, I won't go too far because people will speak the next days, but we'll see that then after he had killed the Keshi demon, Krishna just returns to tending the cows with his friends in the forest as though like nothing happened. And Krishna is eternally engaged in his transcendental activities in Vrindavan with his friends, the cowherd boys and the gopis. But sometimes he exhibits the extraordinary prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by killing different types of demons. So when the Lord returned to play with his friends, he brought happiness to all the residents of Vrindavan. So I actually thought to ask some discussion questions that I thought of after, reading this section. Narada Muni says that Krishna appears as time personified, right? So I want to hear, because we also want to talk about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, maybe we'll just hear from one or two people for each of the discussion questions. What are some ways in which Krishna appears as time personified, either in scripture or in your own life? Come closer so people online can hear.
For me, this is Das. I always got a kick out of just thinking that Krishna is time, and then that has
It's still on Zoom.
Still has me, just want to be efficient with my time, and thinking that it's spiritual, it's Krishna. And then every time I become conscious about it, what time it is, it's a chance to remember Krishna.
Whenever you come, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part because Adi Krishna was saying something. Can you start from the beginning?
Yeah, just that I've always got a kick out of thinking Krishna's time, and throughout my day, trying to be as efficient as possible in Krishna's time, and not waste any time. And also just anytime I'm conscious of what time it is. Of course, I don't do it all the time, of course. I'm trying to remember Krishna's time to be efficient.
That's a really nice, beautiful realization. Thank you so much. One more. Would anybody else like to say something? Yes.
In Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna is asking, so who are you? in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says, "I'm time, time I am." It's one of the key verses of Bhagavad Gita is in the 11th chapter, and he, correct me if I'm wrong, in 10th chapter also he mentions how is everything working according to his will. So there's two manifestations. When I just heard when he was reading that, I mean, Bhagavad Gita came into my mind, and that verse especially was made about time. Krishna is time by Eisenhower. He was quoting that after nuclear explosion happened, he was like quoting Bhagavad Gita and saying, "I am the time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds." I don't know how religious the person was, but he was reading Bhagavad Gita. So many times, yeah, Prabhupada mentions about how for devotees, Krishna comes in personal form, but for atheists, he comes in form of time and kills them at the end of life. Thank you.
And what are some ways in which Krishna's will is never thwarted and he can achieve all desired things, either in scripture or in your own experience of serving him? Thwarted means like blocked. So his will is never blocked. His will is always victorious. His will always happens, and he can achieve everything he desires. So how do we see, what are some examples from that, either in scripture or that you've had like personally in your life, in your service to Krishna? We can take in person or online.
Just the experience after one Gora Purnima, we had huge bills to pay for a temple in Helsinki, Finland. And I was chanting japa next morning, and I couldn't chant with rounds. I was chanting Hare Krishna, bills, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, bills. Then I stopped my japa first time in my life. Like I stopped my round. I was like, oh my God, I cannot chant holy name like that. Called my temple president saying like, I cannot focus, like we have these huge bills to pay. And after festival, like not many donations, what to do? I said, yeah, I also can chant my japa. I cannot focus properly. Difficult. But then he told me that after all discussions how to make money, they opened the box where people, devotees put all the receipts. And somehow others after festival, they opened it and they found exactly amount of money what was needed to pay all the bills. Wow. So it was a certification that Krishna's temple continued to exist.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Thank you so much. One more. Manohar, you have to come here.
It reminds me of when Krishna was on behalf of the Pandavas asking for peace, and so that there wouldn't be a battle of fixation. And seemingly it seemed like that didn't go through because the gurus were inimical. But Krishna's true plan is Vinashaya Chaduskritam, to rid the burden of the inimical people on the planet. So it's like Krishna's giving them an opportunity to not be inimical, but by their own free will, they chose to be inimical. And thus the plan of Krishna all transpired through the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So whatever we choose, Krishna's plan is always successful.
Thank you. Nice example. Thank you so much. And right, we've got 3 minutes for the last question. So we'll just take one person. How do you the Narada Muni then he approached the Lord for shelter? So how do you approach the Lord for shelter? And when do you feel most sheltered by the Lord? You can take online or in person.
Krishna makes it so interesting. Krishna is so wonderful that we have so many choices, so many decisions to make in life. But if we, instead of evaluating it logically on the basis of whether I like it, I don't like it, when we make our decisions by taking shelter of Krishna and say, Lord, what do you want? Which way do you want me to go in this? Then we have the shelter of Krishna's guidance. What will please you? Then we have a different criteria for choosing between two alternatives, right?
Mm.
And a really interesting point about time. Prabhupada says time in the spiritual world is, the nature of it is, it's conspicuous by its absence. So time as we know it is conspicuous by its absence. You ever hear that? That here, time is this all-devouring, right? The past is gone. What you had before is ripped away, and you can't stop it. And it's like a bulldozer, and it just keeps going and going. But in the spiritual world, there's a different quality of time. There's the morning when Krishna goes out to herd the cows. There's the evening when he returns. There's the nighttime when he dances with the gopis. So there's a time, but somehow or other, when you're not separated, and the analogy is given like if there's a train going to California, and if you're in one car, you can't see the one behind you or the one in front. But if you're above the train and there's no roof on the train, you can see all the cars. So Narada Muni here is Trikala Gyan. He can see the present, the past, the future, and we are outside of time. We're outside of space. We're the soul, and only the conditioned soul is trapped in this material quality of time, which is all devouring and very painful and insurmountable. But since we know that time, Krishna is time, then there's a gentle and affectionate relationship between us and time. And it seems like, even though I don't always see it like this, there's always just enough time to do what Krishna wants done.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't have time. I'm continually, Radha Swami doesn't have this way that I have a habit of like, I can't talk to you any longer because I got to go do this. I'm always like, but when I see him, if there's somebody there, he gives them his full attention, and it seems like he has all the time in the world for you. He's in a different space. On traveling Sankirtan, we used to work right out of the vehicle, drive to here, drive to there, drive to there, and the driver would stop and talk to somebody, and whoever the devotee in the passenger seat would jump out and go talk to somebody, and then we jump back in the car and go. So all day long, you're making an endeavor to talk to as many people as possible. But when that's why he would be in the van. If he was in the passenger seat, he'd go to talk to somebody. Next thing you know, he's got the guy in the seat with him, and he's got his arms around him. And you're like, oh my God, he'll stay with that person for an hour, you know. And then you have a different mentality of like, we got to do this and we got to talk to all the. He's just like there, and he's there for you, and he's patient, and he doesn't have that, you know, I don't have time for you attitude that we can sometimes drift into. So time is so weird, but it's always now. You ever notice that?
Mhm.
But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, dream not of the past that sleeps, nor of the future dream at all, but live in times that are with thee, and progress useful. In other words, be here now, take care of what we're doing now, and do it nicely, and do it for Krishna, and somehow or other, everything works out. Like the I Ching says, till the square inch, and the square mile will take care of itself. So we just have to take care of our service at this moment with full confidence that Krishna, who is time, will provide the time we need to do what he wants done.
Mm.
Anyway, kind of a rambling share, but a few related points to the topics at hand.
Thank you so much. I
All glory to
appreciate
Srila
it.
Prabhupada.
That was so beautiful. So now we will speak some about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is actually an eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of Radha and Krishna. But he appeared in this world in 1838 in a very wealthy family in the Nadia district of West Bengal. And his life was characterized by extraordinary preaching activities and prolific writing, and many beautiful bhajans. And he was a Mahabhagavata Vaishnava, and he stayed for most of his life in the Grahastha ashram. And then the last few years of his life, he renounced everything and accepted Babaji and entered Samadhi, just totally absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. And he actually had a very responsible government position as the district magistrate, which means the high court judge, and maintained a Krishna conscious family. He actually had 10 children with his beautiful wife, which is a lot. And he wrote almost 100 books on Krishna consciousness. And at the same time, he also did so much other service. I'm actually going to share with you guys his schedule. It's down here. Yeah, so this is his daily schedule. Ready for this? 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. he would rest for 2 hours. 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. he would write. 4 a.m. to 4:30 he would rest. 4:30 to 7 he would chant japa. 7 to 7:30 he would do correspondence. 7:30 to 9:30 he would study shastras. 9:30 to 10 he would take bath and have prasadam of a half-liter milk, fruit, and 2 chapatis. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. he would do his court duties. 1 to 2 he would refresh at home. 2 to 5 he would do his court duties. 5 to 7 he would translate Sanskrit and Shastras to Bengali, and 7 to 8 he would take bath and prasadam, a half-liter of milk, rice, and 2 chapatis. So basically a summary is he would sleep for 3 hours, write for 8.5 hours, do japa and study for 4.5 hours, and work for 6 hours. Hare Krishna. That says a lot about him. And he took Diksha from Sri Vipin Vihari Goswami in the line of Sri Janava Mata, actually. And then afterwards, he received inspiration and direction from Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. So when you look at the pictures of our parampara, actually it has Jagannath Das Babaji as the picture of his spiritual master in our parampara, which was also very significant, that actually, no, you can see, sorry, you can see Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yeah, he actually took initiation from Jagannath Das Babaji. And then above him is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it's not on our parampara picture, Vipin Vihari Goswami. But we can understand that he also took direction from Srila Jagannath Das Goswami. And then later on, his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, took initiation from Jagannath Das Babaji. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up totally. Thank you so much for correcting me. He took from, repeat Vasudev?
Initiation from
Yes.
He took Diksha from Devi Swami. Later on, he took, when it came to establishing the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, Diksha Guru disagreed with him. But Jagannath Das Babaji confirmed that he was correct, and he was the more preeminent Vaishnava of the time.
Huh.
So that time he became the more prominent group of Thakur, and that's why.
Can you hear what Vasudev is saying?
And then he took Babaji Vesh from, you can just repeat it. He took Babaji Vesh from Lokeshwar Babaji. So he took initiation to the denounced woman.
Can you summarize for us?
From, I hope I can. From he took Babaji initiation from Gorkishore Das Babaji.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to summarize?
Basically, His Grace Vasudev Prabhu just told us that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was initiated by this Goswami from line of Janavi Mata, but later he took Shiksha from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and his son Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he took initiation from Gorakeshwar Das Babaji Maharaj. And when Bhaktivinoda Thakur discovered the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, his Diksha spiritual master disagreed with him, but Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he approved that this is a correct place of birth of Lord Chaitanya, and his Babaji Vesh, his renounced order of life, Bhaktivinoda Thakur accepted from Jagannath Das Babaji. From Gorakeshwar. Oh my God, I was messing up. So he accepted from Gorakeshwar.
We were both messing up. Thank Krishna that Vasudev was here this morning. So thank you so much, Vasudev. And it's a really important point that even though Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this very exalted government post, he remains completely prideless and always humble and friendly to everyone. And people always came to his home to seek charity and left feeling happy and satisfied. And yeah.
Mentioned that in the 6 hours of his work, he would accomplish many times more cases than the other kinds of other magistrates.
Yeah.
His work was as a magistrate, he was extremely efficient, and he would take care of these complicated cases in a few hours that other people would take many days to accomplish. And the British government was so grateful for his first-class, intense, expert service that they built a train station for him from his house to the place where he had to work. They actually built a train track and a special station to get him to provide for him, make it easy for him to get to work.
Yeah. And
Did
this,
such a good job.
This
He was
is,
managing the Jagannath temple at the same time.
yeah.
With all those kids, with a full-time job, with a complement of writing and sadhana. And also he was managing Lord Jagannath's temple. And Champakalata he can tell you, it's not easy to manage a temple. So it's Jagannath temple with 52 offerings. You have 6.
Yeah. And here's a quote from Sharanagati, which are beautiful prayers that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote that really sums up his mood. You should always absorb your mind in attentively chanting Krishna's glories. By performing Krishna Kirtana, you'll gain mastery over the mind. Give up all fuss, pride. Always think yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower and more humble than straw on the street. Practice forgiveness like the tree. Giving up all violence toward other living beings, you should maintain them. Throughout your life, you should never give anxiety to others, but do good to them, make them happy, and forget about your own happiness. Thus, when you become a pious good soul, by possessing all good qualities, you should give up desires for fame and honor, and just make your heart humble. Knowing that Lord Sri Krishna lives within all living beings, you should respect and honor everyone at all times. You will attain virtue by being humble, merciful, respecting others, and renouncing desires for fame and honor. In such a state, you should sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Weeping, Bhaktivinoda submits his prayer at the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, when will you give me such qualities as these? So he,
Champakalata, Mataji, can you send that? Can you put that in the chat, please? Everybody wants that prayer.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh,
There's
that
a
means
question,
the
Damodar.
prayer is too long to put in the chat, but I'll put the article that I'm reading from in the chat, which has the prayer in it. And so he was known as the 7th Goswami, and he did so many different preaching achievements, but I'll share 3 like prominent ones. He wrote 100 authorized spiritual books, discovered the appearance place of Lord Chaitanya, introduced preaching innovations, and hundreds of poems and songs. And here's another quote from, okay, well, let's talk about this. So during the last, because we only have like a minute left, during the last 500 years, the original appearance place of Lord Chaitanya had vanished under the Ganges River. And in 1888, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he revealed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Janmasthana at the Yoga Pit in Sri Dham, Mayapur. And Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj confirmed his discovery. And then he established the worship of Lord Gauranga and Srimati Vishnupriya at the Yoga Pit. And also in the mood of innovation in 1896, he actually sent to universities around the world a book of shlokas, Sri Gauranga Leela Smarna, which had a 47-page English introduction, which was called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts. And he did this because he had this very strong desire to spread Lord Chaitanya's teachings in the Western countries. And he actually made predictions. He said that a personality will soon appear and he will travel all over the world to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And that personality is obviously Srila Prabhupada. And then his second prediction was very soon the chanting of Harinam Sankirtan will be spread all over the world. Oh, when will that day come? When people from America, England, France, Germany, and Russia will take up kartals and mridungas and chant Hare Krishna in their towns. And the third prediction was, when will that day come when the fair-skinned foreigners will come to Sri Mayapur Dham and join with the Bengali Vaishnavas to chant Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana. When will that day be? And all three of these predictions came to pass. And it's actually interesting that Srila Prabhupada, he himself took his appearance in 1896, and that was the same year that Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent his books overseas. So it was the will of Lord Chaitanya and the desire of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then of course the mercy of Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that empowered Prabhupada to spread Sri Chaitanya's teachings all over the world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Champakalata. Wonderful class. Thank you. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very innovative. Did he have time for the family? Any time in his schedule for a family? Vasudev Prabhu? Did he spend kids? Okay, no time for family. Do not imitate that. Do not imitate. Okay. Cameras on, please, if you can, dear devotees. Nice. I like how they bow us down after the darshan. Okay, Bhima Prabhu, what's your schedule? Let's see. Let's see how close you are to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We're going to build a railroad from Boston to New York for you.
From 6 in the morning until 8, I fill wheelbarrows full of what's on my mind.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Keep your service going, Bhima Prabhu. One day you'll become like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Innovative, efficient, surrendered. Okay, dear devotees, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, keep your service going like Bhima Prabhu and come again tomorrow. We need you. We love you. Hare Krishna.